Hey guys, happy Tuesday. So yesterday we did dividing whole numbers without remainders, but today we're going to throw in some remainders so you will not get an even answer. So our first problem is going to be a word problem. So Callie has 1,850 books. She must pack them into boxes to ship to a bookstore. Each box holds 12 books. How many boxes will she need to pack all of the books? So she has 1,850 books, and she wants to pack them into boxes that hold 12. So she's taking all those books and dividing them into groups of 12. So 1,850 is being divided into groups of 12. And now we need to see how many groups there's going to be to ship all of the books, or how many boxes of 12 that there will be. So 1,850 goes inside the division house, 12 goes on the outside. So we're going to start with the largest place value, which is the 1. We're going to ask, does 12 go into 1? It does not. So it gets an X. Does 12 go into 18? Oh, it does. It goes in once, because 12 times 1 is 12. Subtract. 8 minus 2 is 6. 1 minus 1 is 0. We don't have to write it. So bring down the next place value, which is the 5. Does 12 go into 65? It does. So we're going to check. I'm going to say, let me guess, 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 1 is 6. Oh. So that's pretty close, because if I add 12 more, it's going to be over 65. So that would be, it goes in 5 times. 5 times 12 is 60. Subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. 6 minus 6 is 0. Don't have to write it. So then bring down the next place value. 0. Does 12 go into 50? So I'm going to say that it goes in 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 1, 48. Oh, that is so close. Very good. So it goes in 4 times. 4 times 12 is 48. Subtract. And 0 times 8 you cannot do, so you have to borrow. That becomes a 4. So the 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. Okay, so we don't have any more place values that we can bring down. There's nothing else there. So that 2 is actually considered a remainder. So we need to figure out the answer to this problem. How many boxes will she need to pack all of the books? So before we actually answer this, I want you to turn in your textbook, and I want you to go to page 109. And there's 2 reflect questions there for you. I want you to pause the video. I'll go back to the work from the problem. If you didn't write it down, I want you to write it down. And then I want you to answer those 2 reflect questions, 5 and 6, on page 109 in your book. So pause the video and do that right now. And when you're done answering the questions, we're going to come back and talk about it. Okay, so hopefully you paused the video and you answered all the questions and wrote down the work. So we're going to talk about question number 5. So what does the remainder in this situation mean? So what does the remainder mean? So we had a remainder of 2. So let's think about what we were doing. So we were taking 1,850 books and putting them into boxes of 12. So we kind of have to think about what all of the numbers mean. So this 154, that tells me how many groups of 12 I could make. So the 154 that's 154 boxes of 12 books. So what could the remainder of 2 mean? Well, as you're packing all those books, after you get 154 books or boxes of books packed, that 2 is 2 books that did not fit in any boxes. Okay, so those were just books that didn't make a group of 12. So the 2 represents having 2 books left over after packing 154 boxes. So then it asks you to think about how many boxes is Callie going to need to pack the books. Well, she used 154 books or boxes, but she still had those 2 books left over. So you can't just throw those books away and say, oh, well, I don't need to pack those. No, you need to pack all of the books. So you're going to need 1 more box, and I know it's going to be a little empty because there's only going to be 2 books in there, but you still need to pack those books. So Callie will need 155 boxes because after packing 154 boxes, she had 2 books left that needed to be put into the 155th box to ship all of the books. Okay. So awesome job if you got those correct. If you did not get them correct, it's okay. It's a little tricky to think about what all these numbers mean, but that's what you need to do in all of these math problems. You're not just looking for a number. You kind of have to interpret what those numbers mean. It's very important to be able to know what's going on in all the problems. So I'm going to do one more problem with you just to show you one more remainder problem. And then after that, I'm going to have you do 8 and 9 on your own and then come back and check out the answers. So we're going to do 7 together, and this is on the bottom of page 109 still. So 7 is 5,796 divided by 25. So we're going to start with the largest place value inside, which is the 5. Does 25 go into 5? It does not. So 25 is a nice number to work with because you can think of quarters. Always think of quarters anytime you see 25. So does 25 go into 57? It does. So how many quarters would you need? Well, so you got to think about 2 quarters would be 50 cents. So it would go in twice because 2 times 25 is 50. Subtract. 7 minus 0 is 7. 5 minus 5 is 0. We're going to bring down the next place value is 79. So think about those quarters again. How many times does 25 go into 79? Well, hopefully you know that 3 quarters gets you 75 cents, which is really close to 79. So 3 quarters, or 3 times 25, gets you 75. Subtract. 9 times 5, or 9 minus 5 is 4. 7 minus 7 is 0. You do not have to write it. So bring down the next place value, which is a 6. So how many times does 25 go into 46? So we know it goes in once, but if we do twice, it'll go over with 50. So we're just going to keep it at once. 1 times 25 is 25. Subtract. 6 minus 5 is 1. 4 minus 2 is 2. So we don't have any more place values to bring down, so we're done. So your answer is 231, remainder 21. So you can just fill that into your book. Okay, so I want you to try 8 and 9 on your own. So keep in mind, number 9 does ask 2 questions, kind of like the last one. So how many complete bags can be filled, and how many rocks will be left over? So it's just like the book example that we just did. You need to know how many are full and then how many are actually left over. Okay, so try 8 and 9 on your own right now. pause the video, copy down the work from the last one if you did not already, and then try 8 and 9 for me, and then come back to check how you did. Okay, so hopefully you pause the video, and then here are the answers to 8 and 9. So 8's over here, and then here's 9. So for 8, I got 46, remainder 16. Check out my work if you did not get that and try to fix yours. And then number 9, I ended up getting 105, remainder 3. So that tells me that she can, or the manager can make 105 full bags, but there will be 3 rocks left over that are not in a bag. Okay. So pause it, take your time, whatever you need to do as you get in kind of the routine of watching these videos and taking notes. I know it's so different and so weird, but pause it, take your time. But I'm going to go over very quickly what you're doing on your own. So your practice for problems with remainders, it's going to be that same page 110 that you did yesterday, but I'm going to have you do some of the problems that remain on the page, 4, 8, 7, 10, 13. Here is actually what they look like, or which ones you're going to do. So 11, you definitely don't need to do. That will be empty. You don't need to do that problem. But other than that, all of the problems should be done between 12 and 13 after today. So once again, that answer key is on Classroom for you to check with. So don't forget to check that once you're done, because you need to make sure you're doing it right. And then you have your 9:15 formative for homework. Don't forget to do your homework after the practice. Email me if you have any questions. Other than that, I'm done with you for the day. Have a good one. I'll